rise for the
Flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Well, welcome to the first meeting of the year. Happy New Year to everybody. Get myself somewhat want to make sure I know there was a update to the agenda. I want to make sure I have the right one.
You have the new one in front of you.
All right. First order of business is the consent agenda items. We have all matters listed within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the commission for reading and study, are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion of the commission with no separate discussion. If separate discussion is desired, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda by a commissioner member or by citizen request. So do we have any citizen requests? Can you come up to the podium, please?
Well, I'd just like you to remove the consent item and discuss it separately.
Consent item 10. Which one's that?
The regular meeting minutes.
Oh, that's the one he wants. That's the one he wants. The first one is the one he wants. Did you have comments?
I did.
Okay.
All right, we'll remove the regular meeting minutes from the consent agenda and we'll discuss that as a separate item. So can I have a motion on
Action items?
action items?
Yeah. Chairman, I make a motion to accept action items, general fund vouchers, $13,116.33. Payroll vouchers, $15,373.60. Water fund vouchers, $196.03.
I'll second.
I have a motion with a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So at what point do we discuss the regular meeting minutes
I think we can do that now.
differently? Yeah, let's go ahead and do it now. Mr. Van Buskirk?
Sure, thank you.
Sure.
Ken Van Buskirk,
See if I can get
I just
these.
wanted to note I grabbed a copy of the minutes as I walked in, and I just wanted to correct a couple comments in there about Sweetwater Park. I did suggest that you take a look at the property before you take it over, but I'm not. I didn't
It's not
say
in
that
there.
it's the responsibility of the private owner. It's just that the homeless folks are both on private property and on school district property, and the cedar boughs are gone, and it wasn't cedar trees. It was, I think Commissioner Jackson asked me if maple trees had been removed, and there's no maple that's been removed that I know of. So I just wanted to make sure that those comments got corrected.
So the correction to the meeting will be that you had asked if there was any maple trees removed, not cedar.
No, Commissioner Jackson had asked me if there had been maple trees removed, and I said no.
And the cedar comments was,
The only thing that I noticed about cedar trees were that the boughs had been removed.
okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So we can make those corrections.
Yeah, so with that correction, I move that we accept the regular meeting minutes of December 3rd with corrections.
I'll second.
With a motion and a second to approve meeting minutes of December 3rd. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Commissioner reports? Judy, could you start?
Sure. It was, of course, the regular port meeting on the 3rd. Washington Public Ports Association annual meeting was in Seattle. No, Bellevue. As usual, it went really well. I brought information for you guys to look at about some of the topics. It was really informative. I need my notes to see which ones, but I'll let you look at them. And that was on the 5th through the 7th. Had a meeting with Mindy Harlow about Highway 300 problem, and we spoke with Debbie Clemens of WashDOT to get more information about the grants for planning.
What was the problem?
Well, Highway 300
Oh,
is
the problem.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Not a specific problem.
So-
Highway 300 is the problem.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're going to work with that. And speaking of, well, I'll wait on that one too, about PRTPO. And then, of course, we had the Christmas party. You guys were invited, and it went really well. That was it.
Commissioner?
Basically, just the first meeting of the month, that's all I was able to get done this month.
There's plenty. I, of course, had the monthly meeting. I went to a housing summit that was through the EDC. It's pretty interesting to see it was like a class in statistics, but you know what the housing problem is, and there's builder shortages, and we can't get people to build out here, and they figure we're about 1,000 homes short in inventory. And yeah, very interesting, and hopefully
Where was that at?
that was at Alderbrook.
Wow.
And it was called a Workforce Housing Summit, so we want to bring people here for economic development, but we don't have any place to house them, so where are they
Exactly.
going to live? And the employers aren't going to come here if we don't have it's kind of a
Facilities.
separate issue from economic development. Where do the workers live?
Wow, that's good.
Yeah,
It was pretty interesting.
it was interesting, yeah.
Did you? Well, you know, as a realtor, inventory's really down, meaning that there's not enough homes to sell. So that's why prices are up a little bit. So that's great, and rents are up.
Yeah, well, it was Rob Drexler said,
Mm-hmm.
every day somebody calls his office looking for a place to rent.
Yep.
There's nothing.
No.
And Randy had, Commissioner Netherland had said that the only thing he could find for a family was a single wide for $1,200 a month. And they had to take it, because that's all there was. They wanted to live in Belfair.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, moving on
wanted
to.
to pass these on to you guys too, so you could look and see what was going on.
Sure.
It'd be real wordy if I went through everything, so take a look if you have questions. I'll answer them
Travis?
about the annual meeting.
Great. Security officers report.
Travis Merrills, security officer for Fort Allen. Haven't had too much to go on this month. It's pretty wet, pretty cold. So we don't have a whole lot of park doors, but we've had some damage down here locally in the from the storms that are on 4-H. I did investigate a call from a concerned citizen about a brown van that was parked kind of suspiciously and there for like 2 mornings in a row. And after the 2 mornings in a row, the van just kind of didn't come back. So there wasn't really anything to see there. We've got a couple of non-payers right now that we're dealing with. We've posted notices to vacate or pay. Pictures were taken today on those vessels as well. So
North Shore?
both one on the North Shore and here, one in Allyn here.
Was one of them that was floating out front?
Yeah, the one that got away and then they brought it in, and yeah, we're having a difficulty with that. So we might end up with a boat. Who knows?
Hey.
Yeah, it's usually more hassle than it's worth on our end. But
Thank you.
yep, absolutely.
Thank you, Travis.
Executive Director's Report.
All right, water system issues. We recently had a call from a developer inquiring about pricing for commercial water hookups. and then came to realize that while we've always had a residential connection fee, we do not have a commercial one. Additionally, in our recently approved water system plan, we did not address this issue at all, or even include our established rate schedule. So on your agenda for discussion and possible action is wording for doing so via an amendment to the policies and procedures. I spoke with Doug Peel at Northwest Water System, and he said that we do not need the state's approval to do this, only for you to adopt new rates as changes to the policies and procedures manual and do it in a public meeting. At the recent WPPA annual meeting, it also became very clear in one of the sessions I had attended that our average rates are well below market. In a couple of our previous meetings, we had discussed raising water rates in 2019. So what I'd appreciate you all doing is dealing with all these issues at one time, raising the rates, formally establishing residential and commercial connection fees as an amendment to the water system policies and procedures manual. The recommendations for those rates are included in your meeting packets. You may want to consider holding a public hearing for this or not, as one is not required. Yarrack Community Utilities Proposal. As discussed previously, we'd received a proposal from Yarrack Community Utilities to purchase water from our system, since as a Class B water system, they're only allowed to drop 5,000 gallons a day from the same aquifer as we have the water right to. I sent their proposal to Joe Brogan to be vetted, got an email from him saying he had recommended against us doing the sewer billing Mr. Carey had originally proposed, and he wanted to talk directly to Jeff Carey to clarify exactly what he was looking for and come to an understanding about what an agreement to sell water would encompass. I didn't hear from Joe for quite a while on this, but came to find out the reason was he'd been involved in litigation in the Tri-Cities for several weeks before Christmas. I received an email from Joe the day after Christmas requesting a copy of the complete water system plan, saying he needed to see that for the water right purposes and review and reference the port service area. He also said he was coordinating with Department of Health regarding the agreement to make sure that we all have our ducks in a row to do this and protect ourselves as well. According to Joe, Mr. Carey maintained he was not in our service area for a number of years, and he wanted to make sure that the Department of Health did not approve anything to the contrary for him. I had hoped to have a draft agreement for you to look at this meeting, but I haven't received anything from Joe at this point. Called him late this afternoon and just got his voicemail. So, property purchase, as reported previously, state law requires that we pay fair market value, which should be determined by a licensed appraiser. We have engaged a commercial appraisal firm of Schaefer, Standard, and Hernandez in Silverdale at a cost of $3,000. We're forced to use a commercial appraiser due to the fact the property is owned village commercial, not residential. I've also ordered the title report from Land Title in Shelton. I'm scheduled to do the final grant presentation on February 13th at 12:30. If we get the grant, it will fund in August. However, we may have to front the purchase price and be reimbursed from the grant. Dock issues. During the windstorm this past weekend, we suffered some serious damage to the floating dock portion below the gangway. Some of the flotation is separated from the deck surface. We had a similar problem some years ago and Endurus covered it. Since we're scheduled to endure another high wind period this week, I'm waiting to contact Endurus as I only want to file one claim. If we file one for this and a second for any additional damage, it's recorded as two claims that impacts our overall rating and our 2020 rates. Excuse me. In the meantime, we've closed the dock at the gangway until the damage is repaired. I'll be taking photos tomorrow to document everything for insurance. I'd previously reported we had a small electrical fire on the dock. While there wasn't any major damage, we do have to repair the fire damage and replace all the flexible liquid-tight conduit and wiring. While we're at it, we should upgrade the receptacles on the dock to GFCIs as well. Contacted a number of local electrical contractors to give us a price on doing the work, but no one was interested in getting under the dock to do it. We ended up using a marine electrical contractor from Tacoma. They're submitting a bid for the project this week. The upside of all this is they're also interested in bidding on our marina project. I'd also contacted Honduras to see if this might be covered, but they determined it's a wear and tear issue, which is not covered, so we're on the hook for the repair cost. U.S. Bank, we received a notification from U.S. Bank they had made deposits to our holding account in the amount of $194.36. This was for rebates on our port credit cards for using U.S. Bank as opposed to Kitsap Bank, and the agreement that they have with Department of Enterprise Services. Totem pole issue, our totem pole here is rotting out at the base, needs to be taken down and refurbished. After months of trying to find out which tribe it came from, we came to find out it wasn't a tribal gift at all, as we'd been led to believe, but one from George Kenny. Therefore, we're not bound by any tribal issues that prevent us from taking it down and doing what's needed to refurbish it. Commissioner Cooper has been in contact with someone who can do the actual restoration work, but we need to get a boom truck to get it down. Local artist James Kelsey has one, has agreed to do this for us. All we need to do now is coordinate with Mr. Kelsey and the fellow Commissioner Cooper knows to move forward. Parking at the North Shore. We'd previously discussed the potential of widening the space across the North Shore boat launch for trailer parking. Olson and Associates has surveyed the property and marked the corners. There appeared to be quite a bit of marketable timber on the back of the property that could potentially be logged to generate enough money to pay for the project. I met with some loggers and came to the conclusion that the timber on the back will cost us more to take it out of there than we can sell it for. We did come up with another idea, however, which is to harvest the timber on the outside edges of the cleared area of the property, which would widen it enough to park 15 or 16 trailers and tow vehicles lengthwise. We need to put 2 culverts in the ditch at the road, cover them, and make a new entrance and exit so we have a clear in and out traffic pattern just like we do across the street at the launch. Since this is a county road and they have jurisdiction, I spoke with County Commissioner Netherland about it. He made the case for us to Public Works as to how this will improve safety on North Shore Road by eliminating the vehicles that park on both sides of the road and eliminate the traffic from tow vehicles turning around on the road. I also met with Earl Iddings, and he is willing to take down the trees on the perimeter of the cleared area in exchange for the wood, so we'd have no cost for that. This is a small project with big benefits, not just for the port, but for the community as well in terms of easier access to parking and safety considerations. I've submitted the paperwork for permitting, and it should only take a couple of days to do, so as soon as the permit's issued, we'll get this out to bid. Local attorney, last month you all approved using the Silverdale legal firm of Templeton, Horton, Weibel, and Broughton for routine matters instead of Foster Pepper. The rate would be $275 per hour compared to the $575 we pay Foster Pepper. They sent me a draft agreement which I have reviewed and am comfortable signing. I've included it in your meeting packet and highlighted the sections I expect you would normally have questions about. It's on the agenda for discussion and approval. Steel door at the kayak park, and we had to order this, and Don had it installed right before Christmas. 3D building acquisition. I reported previously the 3D building on Highway 3 that WSDOT used for offices during the widening project is for sale. I had acquired about a governmental transfer, as I think this would make an ideal coal working facility, as it's already laid out for something similar. WashDOT said they couldn't do it unless we had some kind of transportation-related use in mind for it, so I've contacted all of our legislators, as I'm sure there's some way to make this happen. Representative Griffey and Senator Sheldon are working on this for us. I spoke with Senator Sheldon on the 27th, and he said WashDOT was basically closed through the end of the year, but he would follow up this month and get back to me. Appointment of PRTPO representative. We received a letter from PRPTO asking who will be our representative for 2019. It's on tonight's agenda for action. WPPA and other meeting schedules. The annual bias rally is February 19th to the 22nd, which includes a special class put on by the Washington Finance Officers Association. Leanne, myself, and Commissioner Cooper are scheduled to attend this as we feel strongly it's necessary. And now that we know what we're doing in bias, that will be much more helpful than previous bias events. It was also included in the travel budget for this year. WPPA spring meeting is May 15th through the 17th at the Davenport Hotel in Spokane. WPPA Finance Seminar is June 12th to the 14th at Alderbrook. The annual Commissioners Seminar will be in July, but WPBA hasn't set the date or booked the hotel yet, but will let us know when and where once they've booked it. The Executive Director Seminar is July 11th and 12th at Skamania Lodge. The Environmental Seminar is September 26th and 27th at Campbell's Lodge in Chelan. As these get closer, we'll ask for commitments about attending so we can make reservations. All Ports meeting. We're convening a Mason County All Ports meeting for January 17th here in this room. We've had responses from all the ports, Shelton, Hoodsport, Grapeview, and Dewato. We've also invited Port of Bremerton as well. Got a response from one of their commissioners. We also invited Jack Bailey from the Port of Brownsville, who heads up the Kitsap All Ports Association, and he confirmed today that he would be here. So that's it for my report, unless you want me to go into old business.
I'm ready for old business.
All right.
Yes.
Yep.
Transient Moorage Expansion Project. As I reported previously, the State Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation forced us to do an archaeological survey on the area we're going to be digging the trench for power and water conduits. Bill Ray had suggested we have a survey done on the entire park because additional projects like the Oyster House will require one as well and save money doing it in the long run. Survey was completed on November 21st and no artifacts were found. I received a draft report on December 21st and approved it. The consultant forwarded it to the Squaxin tribe, who've approved it as well. Those approvals will allow the final report documents to be forwarded to the Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation, as well as the Squaxin tribe, so our project can finally move forward. Sweetwater Park, nothing new to report on this. We're still waiting on the property transfer confirmation letter, which somehow got lost at RCO. I emailed Kim Sellers from RCO on December 28th and asked her to look into the status of this. I copied Dana Rosenbach on it and got a response from her saying she had just received an email confirmation and would bring me the paperwork to sign as soon as she received it. We spoke again at the EDC Housing Summit on Thursday, and she then told me she had received the paperwork from RCO, but was instructed to sign it and return it to them, and they would send it to me for signatures. Still waiting. Oyster House, not a lot new to report on this either. We've had some interest from a couple of contractors in the restoration work, but have had difficulty over the holidays getting everyone who needs to be there in the same place at the same time, so all the questions can be asked and answered. And we'll continue working to set this up. We did have some back and forth communications with the lobbyists and engineers about getting all the specific numbers right so they can look for funding in the right places. We're also at the end of Mike Ross's agreed upon time for donated work. He's expecting to be paid from this point forward. He's revising his proposed agreement for us, but I've yet to receive a copy, so I have nothing to pass on at this point. However, this is on your agenda for discussion. We did meet with Mike this morning, and he's completed and submitted all the bid drawings, so this project can start getting into gear at this point. Perhaps Commissioner Scott has some additional information to share. Criminalization of marina rules. Commissioner Jackson is working with the sheriff and hopefully be able to put this to rest once and for all. And Kitsap All Ports Association, the next All Ports meeting is January 28th.
Did we hear from the sheriff and from the county All Ports meeting yet?
I have not heard. We did invite him to the All Ports meeting though.
All right, moving on to new business, item A, discussion of paying employees premiums for the Paid Family and Medical Leave Act.
Yeah, this is something, it's a new state regulation, goes into effect January 1, or went into effect January 1. Employers have the option of paying it for their employees. In our case, for us to pay it, total cost would be about $600 for the year.
My understanding is to get out of that is a lot of money.
Yeah.
What do we need to, I mean,
You need a motion to either yes or no.
I would be in favor of paying $600 for, so it would be for you and Leanne and Dawn, but a part-time amount, Travis.
And Travis.
don't have to pay for us.
No. You know, I don't know if we do or not.
Clarify it,
No.
But even if we did, it wouldn't impact, $600 is a little bit high on the estimate.
I can't imagine. we
And that's
would
the
be-
4%, right?
but
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it
because I know as a.
4%?
No, it's
I mean,
4/10 of 1.
Yeah,
4/10.
4/10 of 1%, that's true. Because I know that with mine, the employees can pay 63% and the employer, which would be the court, could do 37, or you can choose to pay the whole thing. So it's just FYI. So we're paying the whole thing, the court.
That, I would
Yes.
recommend to
Yeah.
do that.
I agree.
Okay.
So I move.
I agree.
Do we need a
Yeah.
motion?
Need a motion
Move
and a
that.
second.
Okay, I move that we pay the full amount for the paid family and medical leave, which is the
0.04%.
0.04 of 10% or 1%.
A motion?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Attorney contract with potential action.
Did you all look at that?
Yeah.
Or do you have any questions about it?
I just want to look at it.
It's
real-
pretty straightforward, just,
I looked at it and I didn't know what the highlights meant, so I may not have gave it the thought that I needed to.
yeah, I'm comfortable with it. I just wanted to be sure that you all are.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
it
did
doesn't
have a-
really obligate us to do anything except pay for what the services we use. We're not paying a retainer, we're not paying anything else.
I did have a question, just a minute here. Let me see if I can find it. Give me a second. Oh, drafting resolutions.
I normally do that.
Yeah, I was wondering why that was in there.
They are willing to do it if we want them to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Same thing with attending meetings. If we want them to come, they'll come, but, you know, we
Okay.
have to pay for their time.
Yeah,
But
okay.
like, I do all the resolutions, so, you know, we don't really need that.
What is a reasonable notice for termination?
I would say 60 days. I think it's a 1-year agreement. And then renewable, you know, every year.
Should we put in there specific time of termination? I mean, if,
I can ask them to add it if you want.
yeah,
Then we would just give permission to have you sign the contract. We don't have to accept it, just.
No, just, you know,
Do that
it's
via
it's in
motion?
my declaration of authority, it's
Sure.
underneath the spending amount, but I just wanted you all to see it before I signed it and see if you had any questions.
Yeah, I guess if we can add 60 days into the termination clause.
Okay.
I would entertain a motion to give the executive director the okay to sign the agreement.
so moved.
I agree.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Water system rates, potential action to adopt new rate schedule.
Yeah, I wrote up an analysis and what my recommendations are. And it's in your packet. You know, we went basically did the same due diligence that we did in 2016 for this. Although we didn't compare water rates with everybody, but like Bremerton and Shelton, which we did the first time, they've graduated increases that go into 2020 and 2021 already in their rates. Same thing in Port Orchard. But we're way under everybody else. Like Belfair water charge is $77.70 per month. Port
Commercial?
Orchard is,
No,
no,
that's
Oh, that's
residential.
residential. Port Orchard is 4430, but it's scheduled to go up to 51 something this year and 81 something next year. So it's in. I gotta find where it is. It's in here though. What they're going to.
What, I didn't read through all this, what are you suggesting that we go up to? Because ours right now is $22.95
Yes.
per
I
ERU?
am suggesting that we increase the base rate to $59.95, and that would bring in $479.60 a month based on our customer count. And we increase the commercial rate to $69.95, which would bring in an additional $279.80, which would bring us $196.98 less than our hard money cost. But that's before the 100 for HCF. I'll tell you what that means in a second.
Cubic feet?
Cubic feet. Just drawing a blank there.
So, I got a little lost here. So, we don't have a commercial rate,
We don't.
and we want to
Well, we do
one,
have a commercial monthly rate.
but we don't have
a commercial connection fee.
and we don't have a commercial customer, right?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, we do.
We have
Okay.
4 commercial customers.
So, currently the rate is how much for residential?
$22.95.
And we want to go up $30?
Yes.
So what's that a percentage wise? It seems like a lot to me.
It is a lot.
Yeah,
It's a big increase, but, you know, our costs have gone up. And,
I don't think I'm,
you know, when we calculated this last year, we didn't calculate the full actual cost of providing the service.
I'd kind of like to do raises in increments, even if it's 6 months at a time.
and this is I agree. This is a
And-
big document too, and, you know, I kind of breezed over it. I would almost like to pull this out into a workshop or
Okay.
delay it to, I mean, to me,
Yeah, I'm kind of with you
yeah,
on that.
I complained about my water rates, residential water rates, and they're like $12 less a month than that. And I feel like mine are really high for.
Well, then you're getting it cheap compared to everybody else. That's all
Thanks.
I can tell
I
you.
won't complain so bad next time, but
The Beards Cove water, which, you know, is PUD one, they just raised their by $5.
Well, what I'm
But
finding
they're
with
only 30,
PUD one,
they're $40.
every one of their systems is on a different rate. This is what I found in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And they have since acquired 32 systems.
Really?
Yes, within the last
yeah,
year.
they have.
Oh. I
And
didn't realize
their
that
rates
much.
are all over the board. They're,
Well, that's because they were 32 different purveyors.
well, yeah, they had a dozen rates before that were all different. And trying to calculate like an average rate for them, it's all but impossible.
Could I recommend that we have a workshop to where we can
Sure.
discuss all of our water system needs? 'Cause
Hey,
we
you're the
have
boss.
We have a request from another water system to take from our well, and maybe we could discuss that, because I'm not sure that I understand that 100%. I think that our rates that's a pretty big jump.
They are,
From one
it
to
is a
the
big
other,
jump. It is a
but
big,
I
but our,
also
you know, our
know-
costs have also taken
Sure.
a big jump.
But maybe I could understand that better before
Sure.
making that decision. And also, I think everything that's here, we should look at as well. I mean, and maybe you have, but I actually think our hookup fees are probably cheaper than everybody else.
We're about in the middle of the pack right
Okay.
now.
Because I know in my neighborhood, they're like 7,000 per hookup.
Yeah, what I was recommending for hookup fee was that we increase the residential one $1,000 to $47.50 or $47.90.
So we're
Yeah,
at
$47.50. And that we add a $6,000 commercial fee. Yeah, we don't have a commercial fee at all.
Commercial connection fee.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to do is just get us positioned for the future, because our costs are gonna continue to rise. We don't have any money in reserve for any maintenance or, you know, replacement or
Right.
any kind of infrastructure problem. That's not an if, it's a when. You know, it's a matter of time before we gotta fix something. And if we don't start putting money away, it's gonna come out of the general fund.
What do you guys think about tabling this and scheduling a workshop?
Yeah, the sooner the better.
Okay.
I would
Yeah.
table it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Comment?
There's one comment.
I knew it. Okay.
Not related to me, just related to the big picture. When you start looking at commercial, you want to look at this totally different. I mean, yes, a different rate, because commercial has different other issues, but you're getting into issues too, of fire flow, so you can have additional engineering. I have none of that issue yet myself, but I've seen it bumping up against it because of housing. If it's a certain distance away from fire hydrants or the slope, it'll get us into engineering, so you may have that kind of issue. Also, a lot of water purveyors on the commercial side have a fee based upon the size of the line that they're running to the facility. And probably going to need to look at that, because if we did anything, like I said, I realize the post office is on washing water, but if we did something of that nature, that's only 6,000 square feet. They have sprinklers, and it would be a totally different size than allowing it to have here. I remember like a number of years back, like looking at Lacey, and it's like it starts off close to residential, but almost with each size of the pipe, pretty quickly like a 4-inch, 20,000 range real quick.
Sure.
And there's, and you want to make it simple, but you got to kind of, like they were saying, you got cost that comes as a result. And a lot of times you're going to have some variance that's going to affect that fee. So I guess what I'm trying to say is where you're going with it, workshop is probably a good idea, but there's really, at least the commercial side, there's a whole big segment dealing with fire flow requirements, sprinkling in the roads.
Sure.
Or just the size of the service. Because I know I've acquired, personally, I've been with PDD1, and they charge another $1,000 to increase just from 3/4 to 1 inch. Just the difference between 2 types of pipes.
Yeah, all of the rates that we proposed are based on 3/4 of an inch, and the commercial rate was based on 2 inch.
Okay.
Okay.
Ken?
Just wanted to suggest that you're looking at potentially raising the violation from the test plan. So that, again, this would go for the water line. And so now,
Thank you.
Yeah, I was thinking probably a public hearing, even though it's not required.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Maybe advertise and have a
Yeah.
opportunity for people to come in and, yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And there's how many
10?
How many what?
I mean,
ratepayers?
Oh, 15?
Yeah, 15.
15?
Yeah, there's 2 that don't pay the monthly fee.
In kind.
No,
Or us.
they're grandfathered for some reason.
Who is it?
No, they pay their rates, the base rate.
Yeah, they-
don't pay for water use.
Yeah. One of them, I can't think of their name, starts with an L.
$3.50 a month.
And they have
Matson?
2. Who?
Matson?
Ogren, the church.
Yeah, Ogren doesn't pay, and who's the other one that has the 2 properties and just pays for one?
Oh, yeah, he pays for, he has 2 hookups to be given, and one he doesn't pay because it was the older house grandfathered into his new house he pays.
Okay.
All right.
Everybody else has been changed out.
All right, well, I know that we have the Allports meeting, and if we want to pick a day to have a water system, if it's gonna be this month, Ted, I know you have a tight schedule.
No,
but-
this is important, so I'll make sure whatever we need to do, I can take it off. We want to keep it on Monday, we have a holiday on the 21st. So next week.
We want this this to be a public hearing or just a work session?
Yeah.
to start with?
Well, this one should be the work session, so we can, and then I think we should schedule a public hearing for the future to
Yeah.
invite people down to talk about the proposed changes.
You know, we can have the public hearing at the next meeting, because it's,
Yeah, sure.
you know, I think the first of the month, if I'm not
Send out
mistaken.
reports and see.
Yeah, let's do that. At least I
Yeah,
might.
and then, gosh, I got a lot going on this month too, and I don't have my schedule with me, but the 21st is a holiday, so we don't want to do that day. And the following Monday is
We'll do the 14th.
the following Monday our all courts meeting? Is
No,
that-
that's the 17th.
17th is all.
That's a Thursday.
Okay, what did I get invited to today?
Is that at 6 o'clock on the
Yeah,
17th?
6 o'clock. And we're gonna provide finger food.
Am I gonna provide what I
Primary?
did, what I did before?
Hey, you're welcome to.
I said I would,
Oh, and then we got one over on the side.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, we didn't ask anybody to bring anything, we said we'd provide.
Check the calendar real quick. So would the 14th work for you, Ted? That's
Yeah,
kind
I'll
of
make
what
sure,
you're
yeah,
throwing
I'll
out,
make sure it
so-
works.
In fact, he's got some really
I'm
good.
pretty sure it works. 14th Monday? Yeah, I don't have anything on my calendar for that day.
For what day, the 14th?
14th.
Yeah.
Just
Fine.
oh geez.
Are we gonna do that, or have we decided?
The 14th is not good for me. Yeah, meetings till,
That's 15th.
Probably have to make it at 6:30, because I'm working all day that day.
not good.
Not good? I think the 16th is bad for me, too.
Not good.
Friday is okay. I mean, later.
Thursday, the 17th looks.
So that's all, that's our all.
Oh, that's the all ports. Of
Yeah.
course, that's why it looks good. The 22nd is it the,
20, I can't do the 22nd.
I can't do the 22nd either. That's a commissioner meeting.
Unless we did it early.
23rd I can't do. Thursday, the 24th I could.
That works for me.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
that should work.
Jeez.
Shoot for 6 or 6:30.
It depends on whatever you guys want to do. It's, I can do either one.
I'm open.
Yeah,
6 is fine.
6 is fine.
All right. It's set Thursday, the 24th at 6 p.m.
All right.
Can we throw in, I know I'm jumping ahead, but Mike Ross needs a decision on his, project manager stuff too.
Yeah.
And I was hoping to get that at least looked at and decided on, so we can,
Well, we've got that under new business. So
yeah, I
we
know,
can-
but,
let's talk about adding it when we
Okay.
get to it after we
All
have
right.
some discussion. All right, so now we're moving on to new business item D, appointment of PRTPO representative.
yeah, I'm willing to do it again, and it's pretty important that somebody's there.
Sure.
They just need a letter of appointment. In fact, I will be going to PRTPO on the 18th.
I've already got the letter written.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
So
Yeah,
you
when I
need a
saw it on the
motion?
agenda, I just thought maybe you didn't want to do it,
No,
so.
no. We just need a letter of
Okay.
appointment every year, so.
Yeah.
Ted?
I'm great with
Yeah,
that.
me too.
Okay.
So do we need a motion?
No.
Okay.
Well, you might as well, yeah, I think so.
I would move to keep Commissioner Scott on as the PRTPO representative for 2019.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Oyster House Engineering Agreement with Mike Ross.
You did give me, I hope I got enough copies here. Now, it's a lot in our favor. He has, as you know, he has done a tremendous amount of work for free. thousands of dollars worth for free over the years. The paintings that you see, he also gave us bid documents with all the work done for, companies to do a bid on the whole project. And Larry got a copy.
Yeah, I've got like 4 copies
Yeah,
upstairs.
got a copy, which, probably I should try to take a look at for your information. This alone is a great deal. He's got a project plan here. Let me find you this. This is his proposal. This is the job description and his independent contractor agreement. So just take a look. We don't need to decide on that right now, but that's something that I want us to make a decision on as soon as we can. He's done so much work for us. What he's asking for is $25,000, but that's over a period of 2 years, which is family and friends discount. That's what he called it.
It'll be slightly over $1,000 a month.
Which he has done so much work for us, and of course, if we don't get the money, then that's a whole new ballgame.
If we get the lobbyists find us money, we can pay them out of that money.
Yeah, and then we can really get this project done.
So as you guys know, I had a hard time with the lobbyists. Now we're talking about an equal amount of money that's for something that that's not the first I've heard of it, but the project has gone from 501c3 project to a government project, and of course you would expect the cost to escalate, but I'm just not sure that we need to have a contracted project manager for this project. I mean, I understand he's done a lot of work for us, for the nonprofit. Other people have done a lot of work for the nonprofit, and I think Larry should be the project manager. In my own opinion, he should be the one that sees this through. I'm not closed-minded to. I understand he's done a lot of work, but are we paying him for the work he's already done, or are we paying him for what Larry should be doing in the future? That's my 2 cents on it.
Well, I know when we get money, it's gonna be a full-time job. There's a lot to it who has to have understanding of building. I know that Larry's got some expertise at some of that, electrical in particular, but I think with Mike being the engineer, he understands what it takes to get a project like this done from the ground up. And of course, we've had so many people volunteer as well. And plus, I think I gave you this piece of paper too about what his suggestions about, the 501c3 North Bay is kind of to the point to where they won't be able to get enough money for what this project's gonna cost. So we gotta do it. Either we're gonna do it or we just drop it and let it fall apart. And that's kind of where I'm at. I have been trying to nursemaid this along for 3 years. It's been a long time, and I want to make sure that we get this done, that we do the taxpayers justice. So I think taking time to look this over, it is a lot of money, and I'm kind of to the point to where we need to show that we want to get this, that we're serious about it. And if we need to take some money from something else, I think we should.
From the lobbyists, maybe?
It'll tie in, but has a lobbyist been in contact?
Oh yeah, they're very, very busy about that. I hear from them several times a week.
Okay, I know the session's just started, so
Yeah.
everybody's still getting their feedback from their office.
No, I hear from the lobbyists several times a week.
Once again, I don't have enough information to make a good decision on any of this right now.
What about having Mike come to the work session about the water? Yeah.
Well, I think that would be a good idea. You know, he's kind of more for the work session, the nuts and bolts of what it's gonna, what it's gonna take. I'm not a very good, what's the word, a sales pitch person for this, I just know that he understands what it's gonna take, not to disregard what you're doing, Larry, but Mike really does understand what it's gonna take. And has had hands-on, knows this inside out. We've kind of skated along with North Bay doing a great deal of it, but again, now it's to the point where North Bay doesn't have the ability financially to go get these grants where we do. And, or even the expertise, to do it volunteer basis, I don't have the expertise to find the kind of volunteers that are qualified and to organize them. So that's why, again, the port needs to jump in and start doing it. And Mike is the guy that knows this project inside and out.
And as it transitions from a volunteer-based project to a governmental-based project, I think that, that's where we have to go out. We have to solicit bids, and engineering's being done by Art Anderson, so Mike's an engineer, Art Anderson's an engineer, we're paying Art Anderson, we're paying Mike, we're paying a lobbyist.
Well, we haven't paid Art Anderson to do any engineering for this
Yeah,
project.
yeah.
They did what they did gratis in hopes that we will hire them to do
Right.
it. But,
Yeah,
you
and
know,
Mike said that there are some things that will be needed to be engineered, that it's kind of not beyond him.
And he's
but-
not a licensed engineer.
Yeah.
So even if he did the work, a licensed engineer still got to sign off on it.
Mhm.
Yeah, we should, find out.
Oh, let me add another caveat to
Sure.
that too. And what he proposes is that the port, I think I gave you what the port should do. We're gonna get it structurally sound, get the shoreline part done, move it over to the shoreline, to the piers. North Bay, at least that's what we're proposing. We haven't talked to North Bay entirely about it, but they will do the interior part. The museum part, which, that I think they can get money for. That's not gonna be quite as expensive as the remainder of it. And you did take a look at the Art Anderson documents,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Yeah.
And volunteers could do some of that as well, the interior finish work. I mean,
Yes.
hanging drywall is not rocket science.
Yeah, if that's allowed. I mean, under a public works contract type job, I'm not sure that volunteering is allowed. So if it's a public works project,
And that's why the thought was to separate them, make the structural work and the move and getting the launch ramp removed, get all that stuff as one project, and then have the interior finish as a second project.
we
So-
should find out if that's allowed under public works.
Well, we got a meeting with Nicholas Van Wednesday.
Wednesday at 2.
So he'll be the guy that could answer that.
So it might have to be, it's a port project, so it's a public works project, or it's a North Bay historical project, so it's a volunteer project. I don't know if it can be both.
Well, I think getting the structure and
yeah.
moving it, that could be a public works project.
When we did the kayak part, I know, the house being taken out, a lot of the work was done public works, but we went down, the employees, and rolled out the grass and did a bunch of work
Mhm.
ourselves.
Well,
I
we
know
volunteer.
employees can do projects for the board, but
Yeah.
can volunteers do?
Well, we can get
Projects
some
for the board,
clarification
yeah.
Well,
on
and
that.
I think that is possible, because of all the partnerships that, the ports do with all kinds of different entities, and I'm pretty sure we could, especially with the interior.
I'll find out.
Yeah.
I'll talk to WPPA and we can contact MRSC and ask them as well.
Unless the port wants to do the whole thing.
Well, we might have to.
Yeah.
That's my only thing, is I don't know that we can necessarily separate it out.
Well, let's find out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I'm
And
gonna,
let's get the answer before we meet with Mike.
yeah, we're gonna table new business item E to next meeting,
24th?
or to the 24th, the
Yeah.
workshop. So we'll have two things on our agenda for the workshop: water rates and Oyster House engineering agreement.
And we may, just in case, I want you guys to look at this, that if we need to make a decision on that day, I would like to try to. So maybe make it a special meeting.
And then could you do the finances on that as well?
On the water rate?
No, on the.
On the Oyster House,
Oh.
on Mike.
How we're paying for it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you
And
guys.
yeah, I don't know if we should make a decision, because I would like to bring that back out for public comment at our next regular business meeting.
You know, the one other question that I have, you brought up a question about the lobbyists being in contact. Do you want me, they generally copy Judy on their emails. Do you want me to forward those to each of you as well?
One thing I found with lobbyists, if they're working an issue, I mean, they can't, their faces are constants down there. It's nice to have, if there's time where we could get out of our schedule and go tag along with them.
Yeah, I did
Our
that
own-
in Port Orchard. But
Yeah, I'd like to do that. I did it before with our lobbyists, and when they need you, you go down there and meet with the legislators and try to sell what you're trying to do. So, I mean, if there's something coming up, definitely. If they have a handle on trying to get a line of money for the Oyster House, I would love to see all three of us, or all of us go down there if we're available, try to push this thing. And on the Oyster House, and looking at this, and one thing that I'm concerned about is that if we get the money to get the initial phase in there, get everything done like it says in phase 1, I'm concerned that it's going to come to a screeching halt. And I would like to see timelines. We get our portion done. I'd really like to see the Historical Society provide us timelines on when they're going to do each phase, so we can tell the public this is what's going on. So I'm really concerned that we get it onto the water, and then it's just quiet. So until we get volunteers, until we get materials to do that. So.
Yeah, we're gonna have an Oyster House meeting tomorrow night as well, and that's at 6 o'clock here. And then, the plan, or at least the preliminary plan, is that the North Bay, well, first of all, we have to make sure that we have all of our ducks in a row, that the port is gonna do what I had just suggested. And then it'll probably take about a year of planning for the interior work for the museum piece. So then I think once they get together and have a plan to know what their portion is going to be and how to pull all that together, there should be some timelines. The sergeant granddaughters are being involved in this too. So I'm really glad to see them on board.
All right, if no other discussion on that, we are to public comment. Earl?
Good evening, Commissioners. Please bear with me. I'm getting over that bug that's been going around. Oh man, that thing's, don't wish anybody that, not even my worst enemies. But I first wanted to say thank you for graveling the parking lot there at North Shore and even down here with the black basalt. For the 12 plus years that I've lived there next to you as my neighbor, I've always had to contend with in the summertime all the little kids peeling out and dusting me out, and it just sucked. But for the first time since I've lived there, I've never had any dust problems, so I wanted to say thank you very much. And I'm very grateful, my entire family, and also the other neighbors were all grateful too, talking with them. I also wanted to get into a little bit of what Larry said. I wanted to also help assist in your future endeavor of the light expansion that you were discussing. I'm not very favorable of ever having a RV park or something there, but to enhance it for the community like that, I think Larry has a really good proposal. I think it can be done. I think it would really enhance the boat traffic, especially during shrimp season, crab season, and then also the summer months. I did have several concerns I was hoping to address with you on that I did discuss with Larry. Is I'd really like to see support to try and lower the speed limit through that area to 25. You're adding another entrance to that area, and it's on an extremely blind corner. I've seen 12 to 15 small accidents, but they're still accidents. And they usually come around the corner too fast, lose control with the gravel, that the kids peel out onto the road, and then they slide into my fence or into our cars or into boats coming out, pulling in and out of the egress there. So a slower speed limit, whatever the limit we can get through there, because there's also it's also a school zone. You know, we have a bunch of kids. I have my own kids and a bunch of other neighbors as well. So I don't know what the limit is. If we can get 20, great. 15 would be better. I don't want to piss off everybody down into Huya, but whatever that ability is, I would like to limit that section through there because it is a real sincere life safety hazard. And then when you're going to increase the traffic there on that, you're now entering 100% blind because the corner is wrapping around as you're coming out. You're not actually coming out with the line of sight the way it is. So that's something to consider. The other thing I want to bring up here is it's been really slow with the extracurricular nighttime activities down there since you guys put up the light. I want to say thank you. But they're also starting to come back in. And just over the last week actually, I picked up 3 hypodermic needles that they're throwing over the fence into our yard. And I have a 15-year-old daughter, a 10-year-old son, a 2-year-old daughter, and then another son in the oven. So I've got some little playmates out there that are going to be playing. I don't know collectively what the best thing to do, if I'm going to ask for support to maybe raise the fence or even help support putting in an additional light down closer by those big trees facing out, because that's where they're parked. They're kind of sheltered from the light by the porta potty, getting down into that north corner of the boat ramp next to our feet. So there's a little bit of an issue there. But whatever comes out of it, I'll be a good neighbor and help support. The last thing that I wanted to introduce to you guys, excuse me, I just swallowed my gum. It's a pretty big issue, so yes, this is something that I think is going to gravitate and could have potentially some really negative potential impacts to your own taxpayers within the Port of Allyn district. Earlier on, I sent over some informational packet to Commissioner Scott in regards to a litigation that's been going on for 5 years down here in the Port of Allyn. To sum it up, 20 landowners have been sued by DNR to recreate, change, and or take tidelands away that have been previously bought, sold, and managed for, one instance, 115 years. The information that I sent over is also a letter opposing DNR's potential adverse possession through trespass, which is part of their litigation claim. And what they're claiming is that if people do trespass on private property and the state deems that they want that land, they can utilize adverse possession as a tool to go and grab that property. Adverse possession is different than eminent domain or prescriptive easement. Adverse possession means you don't get any compensation. They'll steal the property or take it illawfully, and well, it could be lawfully if this passes, but it's not a very positive, warm-feely approach between private landowners and our local government. And here's what the ramifications could have here locally. The way that this litigation could potentially escalate down if successful, we doubt it will be, but it could be. No private landowner will be safe if anybody claims that they've trespassed on your property. If somebody trespasses on your property with or without no trespassing signs, the state could come in and claim adverse possession. So waterways, which you have quite a bit of here in the Port of Allyn. You've got the lakes up on top, you've got the Case Inlet, you've got Hood Canal. Any of those waterways could then be deemed potentially lost from the private sector. In addition, they're also moving forward with recreational-based use now. So if people have recreationally used your property, they're going to adversely possess it as well. So now it goes to anybody that has an upland property that has a trail. So if you have a trail that you've allowed connection points to any view corridors or river or a lake or a neighboring piece of property, people hike or trespass legally or illegally, the state can claim adverse possession. So what we're asking is that a letter potentially of support opposing adverse possession by trespass. And there's been some information that's been sent over, a similar letter, kind of like what Rennie Netherland has already written to Hillary Franz. Commissioner Franz has inherited this problem, and she ultimately has the power to end this problem if she feels fit, or at least a portion of it, such as the adverse possession portion. There's also a bill that's going to be presented, I believe it was presented today from Senator Sheldon, that is going to the legislature right now, and I believe that the House reps, Dan and Drew, are also going to be presenting this as well, where it will ultimately, if successful, end in adverse possession by trespass by setting a law similar to what they have already in place, where the state or government agencies can't eminently domain property for recreational use. So this would be a great stepping stone to protect private property rights from adverse possession. And that'll be coming forward, and when the bill numbers come out, we'll be forwarding all those on to you.
Great.
I forwarded
Randy's letter to all three.
Okay,
Yeah.
was it in the same packet as?
No,
No,
Okay.
no,
you
I
just
sent it
did
as
that.
an
Okay.
email since.
Thank you.
we've been-
Oh, and
Thank
we
you.
also have the Port of Tuwato and other districts, and we also have other senator districts that are also co-sponsoring this. So this is kind of a big
Yeah.
push, and it's just now coming out. So.
Earl, I probably have to recuse myself because I could be potentially part of the witness list. So I think the public should know that my time at DFW, they may call me as a witness.
And that's probably very honorable and should be. Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Earl. Jeff?
Thank you very much.
Jeff Curry, I got 4 things here. One is tip cap. New year, new projects, or new looking at things. One thing, the SC, I think it's SCJ Alliance, they are in the final phase of wrapping up a proposal, or actually a series of proposals as far as looking at the Razor Road connection or go around Trails End Road connection, if you want to look at it that way. And they got, it looks like it's somewhere around 11 different routes they've picked and given value to. And we haven't seen it yet, but I saw it coming through the briefing that the county's getting it. So, but that's a project in the Port District, and it has a certain amount of economic impact. And like last year, you mentioned a project which we at least added to the pile or the list with regards to North Shore as far as pedestrian. Something you guys, I don't know if it was Larry that brought it or the board. I'm sure it was the board eventually. But the bottom line is if there are other things like that, I mean, this is again the time. In other words, we're whittling at little things like this county is now looking at some of the right-of-ways, of actually doing something with some of the right-of-ways in the Plat of Allyn that we've been, at least since I've been here 25 years, trying to work around and trying to get some county support working that. So if they're going to be looking at things, with the connector, with the Belpar bypass and all that here shortly. So anyway, bottom line is, see things, got things or know things, let us know, or forward it on to Loretta or me or whoever, so they're right down the county. Another thing I noticed, and it occurred to me, and I don't know, this is kind of a question. The county apparently is updating the capital facilities plan to the comp plan, and I have a pet peeve with the whole thing because it never seems to accurately reflect both dollar rises and where they're going with things. But forgetting my pet peeve, there are components in there that are related to parks, and I noticed like Sweetwater Park is not on that list. Not either under the school district or under parks or under both the county level, state level, port level. I mean, they have the ports park here, but they don't have that. So,
Interesting.
because I know a while back it was, there was a meeting here with regards to Sweetwater Park about trying to get the financing, and was it in the capital facilities plan of the county? It appears not. And I don't know how much the port's going to have the county help with different things, and all that kind of thing. But worst case is it's obviously it's going in the direction of the port, so it's got to get in the inventory of capital facilities. So I guess the roundabout thing is somebody needs to talk to, I guess it's, what's her name?
It's not Loretta, is it?
No, Rowan, what's her?
Kel.
Kel. Get in contact, because apparently they're not, they're having the different meetings. It's gone through the PAC, but, the Planning Advisory Committee, but I just saw it come up, little bits of it through the briefing stuff, and it's like, okay, here we go again. Poor. But there are pieces that are related to the port, so that's my 2 bits, at least in the context of that. To get my issue about, where they are in the numbers, that's a different issue. Also, there's things in there, and I don't know, because the ports have taken different tacks over the, different approaches over the years, but there are things like water improvement things, sewer improvement things, and, it's your guys' call, but they do, especially this one phase where they're talking about potential connection between the Port Bremerton property up there
Oh, sewer, yeah.
and the Belfair sewer. And I have, as a taxpayer in this, county, I have a big concern, because every time we do one of these projects, we miss. I mean, badly, not just by 10, 15%, but badly, way more than that. And as an example, if the port decided to get involved with it, I think, first of all, I think overtly you should say yea or nay, that you're involved or not involved with it. But if the port should get involved, I'm concerned that where the county is taking us is that you have, again, it's like a bunch of future costs, and I just don't think it's been properly vetted, properly gone through a feasibility analysis of where that break-even point is and where the taxpayer is on the hook. Because right now, a fair amount of money, I think close to almost 800, maybe more than that now, between REIT and sales tax money goes to Belfair sewer, just to keep it afloat. So anyway, I won't beat that anymore. Just 2 clarifications in the executive's report. No issues there on it, just clarifications, because they're used interchangeably. Your community utilities, its water system is a Group A. It has been approved as a Group A. It's just that we don't have the water on it, so even though our application was seen to the court, that's another different issue. But we are a Group A, so it's not.
So you're a Group A, we're a Group A.
Yes. Second thing is the service area. There was a comment about not in the service area. The issue that was covered with Joe, your port's attorney, was the port has no infrastructure in areas I'm trying to serve. And ports have problems or issues, I'll just say issues, in latecomers agreements and things like that. And so it gets to be very costly to try to bring port services into certain areas. So that was the context. And because technically you have approval to serve the whole UGA. So that's your whole service area. So obviously I'm within the UGA, so technically I'm in your service area.
So we can serve you.
Right, but there's some problems.
Yeah, and I took my comments out of Joe's email, so.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
no, it just, it's very, unless you're into it, the nitty gritty, between service areas and group, I'm not complaining one way or the other, just so you know, okay, we are Group A, 1. 2, I understand the port has a service area. The problem is it can't get to certain things as where we are. And so that becomes the issue, one of the issues. Or they don't do road maintenance like we have to with our nonprofit. So it just, there's a lot of complications. And so it's like, well, you know how the thing is. If you say something to somebody and they say to the next party, the next party says to the next party, it's not going to probably reflect exactly what the first party said to the second party. And I'm not trying to be nitpicky, but just trying to keep us in a framework, because Group A does mean something versus Group B, and service area does mean something. So there's that. Fourth thing, which.
Well, I'll make sure that Joe understands both of those.
Okay.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Because, like I said, I took my comments that were in my report from
Right,
what
sure.
he sent me. So,
And, you know, in conversation with him, I got the feeling he understood water rights and laws and all that in that area very well. And so I have no problem working with him, what have you. There's just a lot of nitty-gritty detail, and the proposal that we were laying out, when I say we, your utilities was laying out to the port, was a way that's not typically used. But it minimizes cost to the port, it minimizes cost to us, it gets money in the port's pocket quicker, and doesn't handicap us by infrastructure that's in a tie to each other. We're getting our four-letter word fast at dinner time. Long story, long history.
It is a long story.
But in the process, there's no reason, as long as certain things are done and provided to the port, and the port has access to our meters and what have you. So there's ways to achieve the objectives, and hopefully through contracts, we'll be able to figure that out, get to it, and through the workshop. My final thing, one of my favorites is the Oyster House. As you know, years ago when this was all brought out, I testified that I was really in favor. Not so much that I'm against saving history. I love history. I think without history, mankind makes the same mistakes over and over and over. So I think you have to understand history. I think that I realize when I talk to people that don't really understand the history, how ports really came because there was no roads out here. And so, so all those kind of things, the history I'm all for. My problem is with the whole Oyster House is that basically I'm concerned as to where it breaks even and at what time frame. And I realize the state's got a bunch of costs in it. I realize the port, I realize North Bay, and a lot of people have time and effort. And I'm not trying to say, oh, that's it, done, stop, stamping on the ground. What I'm saying is a serious feasibility. I mean, what numbers we were talking back there were far less than 100,000. Here a few meetings ago, it was creeping up to 400,000 or 500,000. Not saying one is right or wrong, but that's significantly different than where we were, whatever it was, 3 years ago, whatever it was. And my concern is that it's going to be an albatross around the port. Not that it's not nice to have, but there's a lot of things the port needs to do. And I'm not talking about water, but I'm talking about all the other economic development projects you have in your comp plan. And there's a number of those. And I think some of those are better suited or have a better rate of return. And I'm really concerned that, okay, great, you find the money, and even if you get the money you get a lot of these phases done, what I'm concerned about is it's kind of like, it's like Sweetwater Park when I was talking a while back. Fine, you get the park. What's the cost of maintenance, and how's that covered? And I'm not saying I'm against it, I'm just saying that we have to have those feasibilities done. And people get hung up on things about feasibility studies. It doesn't necessarily, a feasibility study doesn't necessarily say, that it either makes money or break even. But say it doesn't, as an example. It still allows you, you could say still you go ahead with it, understanding that that it's not going to make money and that you're going to spend an extra 100,000 over what break-even point is. Then at least we know where we're going, we got it. Feasibility is really to get it in front, not to justify it, but actually to show how it is, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then as a board and the public, we can make it accurate, because so many of us have it, I'll call it hearsay, opinions. And I don't feel that most of our opinions are that accurate to what's really going on. So anyway, so my short and sweet is, let's do a feasibility, or like you were pointing a chart, timeline, let's get a Gantt chart on this thing that really nails it down a little bit. So, when I say Gantt chart, I don't mean that, putting in the, you know, the toilets, putting in the plumbing, or putting in these kind of things. But at least the big pieces of where that's going to come out. And then if it looks close, then you can get into the detail and say, okay, you got the electrical, you got this, you got this, you got this, or you got this with the nonprofit, this with volunteers, this with whomever. Because otherwise, it's going to take twice as long, 3 times as long, and way more expensive. But if I still had to say today, no, don't do it. Even though I know you're on the way, but I'm not changing my position. I'm just saying, okay, fine, if you're this far, get a feasibility done, get a Gantt chart together. So you got something that you can professionally look at it and say, yay or nay. So, yeah.
You want to do it for us?
I know how to do it. I am trained on how to do it. But I got a lot cooking. And I've just gotten another year older and realized that life's not forever. And so, there are a few other projects that
I think the answer was no.
I leave it open,
might
but
have heard that.
it doesn't look possible right now. Anyway, thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Ken?
Thank you, Commissioner. I just wanted to comment about the North Shore parking. When I was a kid, I lived just to the south of where Mr. Higgins lives, on the other side of that blind corner. And my good friend was killed in that corner. It is a really sharp blind corner, and I fully support the idea of whether or not the parking lot is expanded, that you reach out to the county and try to lower the speed limit on the road. And I also, just from my memory of that lot, I don't think even with expanding that it will handle 15 to 16 vehicles with trailers. I don't think it's that big. Potentially could be. It seems to be pretty steep on both sides, or 3 sides. So I'd suggest you look into that a little bit before you proceed any further. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other public comment?
I just had one.
Sure, yeah.
In the wintertime, would it still be, can you still close that site off because it doesn't have the lights and that it really cut down on a lot of the bad traffic? So in the wintertime, I mean, we still close. I think there's only been 3 boats launched in the last month and a half. They were all moisture gathering boats, so. it's
Yeah.
not very busy. Thank you.
Yeah. Any good to the order?
Just one comment, I'm giving up a free trip to Las Vegas to go to Bias.
I think you'll have more fun in
That's so
Spokane.
wonderful.
My wife is a member of the National Kitchen and Bath Association. They are flying her there and taking her to the
So she's going
International
anyways
Pilgrimage.
without
Yeah,
you?
she's
Oh,
going
boy.
anyway. So, and they're putting her up in a really nice hotel and everything else. And I was gonna go, but it's the very same days as Bias.
All right.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
So we are on a trip to Vegas.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
We are adjourned.
Hey, Ken,
Yes, sir.
can I get you for a minute?